those of you who are coming to Jeddah, welcome to Jeddah. I hope you're liking your stay, and I hope you're enjoying watching movies in the festival. Yeah, give it up, yeah? My name is Ryan Ashur. I'm the director of the Red Sea Labs, and I am honored, and we are all honored, to welcome two-time Academy Award-winning actor, Sir Anthony Hopkins. To Jeddah. We're honored to have you here after all these years of watching your wonderful movies and scary characters and interesting characters as well. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm going to start the session by asking you a question about your characters. And you portrayed extraordinary amount of characters throughout the years. For over 60 years, you played historical figures, presidents, writers, artists. We're talking about Nixon, Picasso, C.S. Lewis, and Alfred Hitchcock. What drew you to these characters? What drew you to these characters?
Well, the simple answer is, to my surprise, they wanted to cast me in them. I'll elaborate on that. Because my life, thank you all. Shall I just leave it like that? My life is really beyond my expectations. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. But my life has been beyond my expectations. I believe someone else wrote my life because I feel the most fortunate and grateful to be here. 70 years ago, I decided I wanted to be something in the world. I didn't know what exactly. But I made this decision. I'm going to escape from not my own background, but from my own limitations. I didn't know how. I didn't know I was going to be an actor. And yet, it all began to happen. I'm going to use this as it all began to happen beyond my expectations. So in answer to your questions, I don't know why they cast me. I really don't, I'm being honest. I'll give you an example. I was in a film directed by a wonderful director called Roger Donaldson. And he directed me in The Bounty with Mel Gibson. And that was the last I expected to be given a part like that. Then some years later, Roger, the same director, offered me the world's fastest Indian to play as a New Zealand man. I said, why me? He said, because you can do it. It's okay. The same with Nixon. My agent phoned me one day and said, Oliver Stone wants to talk to you about Nixon. I said, oh yeah. What does he want me to play? An Englishman? He said, no, he wants you to play Nixon. I'm from South Wales. I'm not Nixon. Why me? It's because you can do it. So that's been the surprise of my life. And to be here in this wonderful festival is beyond expectations. I've had an exceptionally lucky, fortunate life. And it's getting old now, but I'm still there. But I mean, in all humility, I'm still here and I don't know why. That's the extraordinary puzzle of life. Why are we here? That's the question that puzzles every one of us. So that's my long answer to your question.
Well, it certainly piques my curiosity even more. And I wanted to ask you specifically about a very interesting character, a very iconic character, Hannibal Lecter. Although he was monstrous and he lacked humanity, but did you find the way in which how he behaved himself to find this some kind of humanity in him, maybe over too human in a complicated way, or the silence that he gave in his conversations with Clarice?
The combination of Clarice. Well, I was, again, I go back to my agent, many years ago, almost, I think it's 30 years ago now, long time ago. My agent sent me a script. He said, I want you to read The Silence of the Lambs. I thought it was a children's fairy tale. He said, no. I said, what part? He said, a man called Lecter. Okay? The script came to the theatre that I was working in the theatre in London, and the script came to me. And I started to read it. And I got to page 10. I phoned my agent. His name is Jeremy Conway. I said, is this role an offer? Meaning, in American terms, is this a deal? Do they want me or not? He said, the director's coming to see you tomorrow night in London. His name is Jonathan Denny. He said, what do you think? I said, this is the best part I've ever read. He said, it's only very small. I said, I know how to play him. And to answer the question, the simplification of acting is, you don't have, well, this is my opinion, you don't have to become the character. You don't have to, because you go nuts if you, well, I'm not suggesting anyone who does that is wrong, but for me, I don't need to, because I know that inside me, deep inside me, is the access to all creatures great and small that we are. And that somewhere inside us is hidden and dark, mysterious. The answer to that, he said, how do you want to play Hannibal Lecter? I said, I want to play him as a machine. A machine. I said, yes, he's an intellectual genius, trapped in a psychotic form where he has absolutely no feeling for humanity. He has compassion, but no sense of humanity. He's a complete... No, I'm not well versed in psychology, but I do believe that he's a psychotic. There's no feeling. He'll kill him. Except, and the challenge for me was when I see that the young woman who was coming to talk to me, Jodie Foster, I said, and I remember we were setting up, and the director said to me on that morning in the cell, when Clarice comes down the corridor, he said, how do you want to be seen? Asleep or having a meal or something? I said, no, I want to be standing right in the centre of the cell. He said, standing, yes, because I can smell her coming down the corridor. And that's not what I mean, but it is that he is aware when he sees her. The other side of his nature, he develops a rapid fondness for her. I love her in a way. She's coming to see me. Now I can have some fun. You're not real FBI, are you? Jack Crawford sent an FBI to see me. You know what you look like with your good bag and your cheap shoes. You look like a robe. I want to strut us with a robe all the way to the Because what makes us, what we are, why Hannibal Lecter appeals to us, he may not appeal to all people, But like Mephistopheles in Goethe's Faust, he knows the vulnerable part of ourselves, the seductive part of ourselves. And he knows about our cheap shoes all the way to, and he knows about our ambition. You're so ambitious, all the way to the FBI. And in that is death. Death. He understands, like any, that we're all mortal and we're all terrified, at some degree, in a deep subconscious mind. And as a psychiatrist himself, he can dive into it. You're ambitious. Those cheap shoes. Yeah. I'm charming.
So, which brings me to a question that I've always wanted to ask you. How did you come up with the fava beans line?
The fava beans. Well, it's just a trick at the moment. Because I think the scene is only about 3 minutes long, 4 minutes long, I believe. She comes to scene. And we were filming on that day, and we filmed the whole scene in that cell in one day, you know, on the film set. And so we were coming to the end of that, I think. And she tries to get an edge on Lecter. And she says something like, "Oh, you're so smart, Dr. Lecter." And I looked at her think, "You better tire." And the stare. If you look, that's why if you look at the dog or a cat with open eyes, they get scared. The power of the eye, the power of not staring, the power of not blinking. And I push her far back to her through the shotgun. Tried to dissect me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. I would say that acting is much simpler than sometimes we tend to make it. I knew that because when I was a little boy, my father took me to see Dracula, the great Bela Lugosi. And then Jonathan Harker, the man visits him in Dracula Castle. You see, and Dracula comes into the room. Bela Lugosi was an impressive-looking man. Comes into the room. But Jonathan Harker doesn't see his reflection because Dracula doesn't reflect in mirrors. He's just of another entity. And Jonathan Harker goes, cuts himself a razor, and Dracula goes, the blood.
One of my favorite parts that you played was Odin. And for me, I'm a bit curious to know, was it your love for the Norse mythology that made you accept that role? Or were you a comic book aficionado?
Well, I accepted the role because a friend of mine, Sir Kenneth Branagh, was a wonderful actor, very, very clever man, wonderful director and a great actor. And he offered me the role. So I said yes. And it was there was no research necessary. I don't know that much about Nordic theology, but I said yes because it was Kenneth Branagh. And it was an interesting because there was no scenery, it was all green cloth or whatever they. But yeah, that's the only reason why.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you for being part of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.